This is the VITILAN H5 dual-motor e-bike. My first impression was simple. It looks like a muscle bike that happens to have pedals. I came in a little skeptical about AWD hub motors, worried the front wheel would feel weird under power, and that the 52-volt system would still sag when pushed. After real rides on city streets, sand, a snowy lot, and a punchy gravel climb, I changed my mind. It's a brute, and it's honest about it. On looks and feel, the frame is 60/61 aluminum, with a folding hinge in the middle and a folding stem up front. The hinge locks up tight with very little flex when I rock it, which matters at this weight. The tires are 24 by 4.0 fat rubber, so the stance is tall without feeling comically large like some 26-inch fat bikes. The 24s are a good compromise, more stable than twitchy 20s, easier to manage in corners than 26s. Hydraulic discs, a coil fork, a rigid rear triangle, a big headlight, a tail light, and an LCD that shows the basics. Cables are everywhere. Not a deal breaker, just messy. The controller sits low under the frame, which keeps it cool but puts it in the spray zone. On wet rides, I found myself wiping it down after. The front fender fit is tight, and under compression, it brushed once until I adjusted it. The whole build feels durable, but it also feels like 80 pounds. Folding is real and helpful for storage, but I wouldn't call it grab and go. Lifting it into a trunk is a workout. From my experience, the ride starts with torque. Key features like dual 1,000-watt hub motors, peaking at a claimed 3,000 watts, a 52-volt, 25-amp-hour battery, and all-wheel drive change how it moves. On throttle, with both motors active, it doesn't just push, it pulls and pushes at the same time. The front wheel claws forward instead of getting shoved around by the rear. On slick bike lane paint and sand over pavement, the front motor's pull kept the line steady when a rear-drive bike would spin or fishtail. On soft sand near the beach, it floated and kept momentum where my mid-drive MTB would sink and stall. On a short, steep gravel climb, it gripped, and I felt the front wheel actively rolling on top of loose stuff instead of plowing into it. The electrical feel is classic 52-volt. Compared with 48-volt bikes I've used, it holds speed better as the battery drops. Top speed on flat ground with me in a hoodie and jeans was around 39 to 40 miles per hour on throttle only with both motors. That's a lot for bicycle geometry. I noticed that around 50% battery, the speed drop was smaller than I expected. That tells me the pack has enough series voltage and capacity to resist sag for a good chunk of the ride. Charging with the stock charger took a long evening for me, about 9 hours from low. Pedal assist is cadence-based, not torque-based. If you're new to that, a cadence sensor basically sees that your cranks are spinning and turns on the motors to a preset power level. It's simple and strong, but it has a small delay and can feel jumpy at low speed. I used a little throttle to smooth the first pedal stroke, then let PAS take over. The assist levels map to speed caps, and the differences feel predictable. The throttle is instant, and honestly the best way to ride this thing in traffic gaps and off the line. Gearing is where I bumped into my first real gripe. In my opinion, the stock 42T chainring runs out of meaningful pedal resistance around the mid-20s miles per hour. Above that, I was spinning my legs with almost no load. That's ghost pedaling. I swapped to a 52T ring and it transformed the experience. With the bigger ring, I can put actual power down into the low to mid-30s. If you want to pedal at speed, budget for that swap. It's cheap and worth it. Comfort is the other trade. The front coil fork soaks up curbs and potholes fine if I'm not reckless, but the rear is a straight shot from tire to spine. On rough pavement, the bike will remind you it's a hardtail with heavy wheels. Fat tires help a ton if you keep pressure sensible. I ran 18 to 20 psi off-road and a bit higher on pavement to protect the rims. I added a suspension seat post and that took the sting out of expansion joints and gravel chatter. If you'll do long rides on mixed surfaces, a better saddle and a suspension post make this a different machine. High-speed stability deserves respect. At 35 to 40 miles per hour, small inputs matter. With the powered front hub adding weight and gyro effect, the steering self-centers a bit more and the bike prefers smooth lines. I had a mild front-end wiggle once when I loosened my grip at speed. A firmer hold and keeping weight slightly forward settled it down. The brakes are strong for this class and did not fade on my test hill. But stopping a heavy, fast e-bike always takes more road than you think. Plan ahead. Range depends on how you ride. With mixed PAS and throttle, mostly single motor around town and dual motor for hills or sand, I saw 35 to 45 miles. When I kept dual motors live and rode hard, I got closer to the mid-20s to low 30s. That lines up with a big 52V, 25 amp-hours pack feeding 2 hungry motors. If you expect to cruise at 30+ miles per hour a lot, understand you're paying for it in watt-hours. Little quality notes from living with it. The LCD is easy to read in shade, a bit washed out in midday sun. The rear rack is sturdy enough for a trunk bag or even a second battery if you're that kind of rider. The thumb shifter clicks cleanly and the 7-speed setup is fine once you fix the chainring. The wiring harness is long and looped. I tidied it with a few extra zip ties. The kickstand is placed well and holds the weight, but on soft ground, it sinks. A wider foot would help. Here's what I liked and what matters most. Key features that stand out are the true AWD traction, the 52-volt system that keeps speed longer than 48-volt bikes I've used, and hydraulic brakes that feel confidence-inspiring with one finger. The 24-inch fat tires strike a nice balance between stability and agility. The frame feels solid under power, and the hinge doesn't creak or wander. The dual-motor surge is fun, but it's not just about fun. It makes sand, snow, and steep loose climbs easier and safer to ride. It's perfect for riders who want serious power and control on mixed terrain and don't mind a heavier bike. From my experience, the most important upgrade is the chainring. Right behind it is a suspension seat post. With those two changes, the H5 moves from electric moped with pedals toward fast e-bike I can actually pedal. There are trade-offs I think you should know. The weight is real, so stairs and car racks are a chore. The controller sitting low means I'm more careful around puddles and gravel. The cadence sensor has that on-off personality at slow speed. So if you want ultra-smooth low-speed maneuvers, use the throttle to feather. And at 40 miles per hour, remember you're still on bicycle geometry. Ride like it, gear up, and respect the speed. If local rules cap speed or motor power, check your settings and ride within the limits. I'd recommend this for riders who want maximum bang for the buck torque, beach or snow commuters who need traction more than they need light weight, and power lovers who are happy to tweak a couple of parts to make it their own. If your priority is an ultra-light, stealthy pedal feel with a refined torque sensor, or if you need to lift the bike often, this probably isn't your match. In conclusion, the VITILAN H5 dual-motor e-bike is a heavy, fast, AWD fat tire rig that delivers what it promises. Big power, strong brakes, and real all-terrain capability backed by a large 52V, 25 amp-hour battery. It's rough around the edges in a few spots, but nothing I faced couldn't be handled with simple adjustments and a couple of common upgrades. In my opinion, it's a blast to ride and surprisingly practical if your routes include sand, snow, or steep grades. Tune the drivetrain, soften the rear with a seat post, learn its high-speed manners, and it becomes a reliable, rowdy tool for daily fun and real utility. You can find detailed information about the VITILAN H5 dual-motor e-bike in the comments section. See you in the next video.